Hiya and welcome to my first video. I am the Crypto Tyke, as good a name as any in it, and I'm going to be talking about my little, long journey, I guess, to creating what could be best described as my own strategic reserve of mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum. But I also buy other crypto as well. I'll go into those probably in another video in more detail. But thought I'd take us for a walk around Ravensthorpe. I suppose I could just go walk in random places and show you what's about. And it's just a good way to walk and talk and share some of my thoughts about crypto. Now, I don't know who will be watching this, probably nobody, but we'll see. And so I'll partly be talking to people who have got sort of an idea about crypto and interested like me 6 months ago, 5 months ago to be precise, in finding out more and why people buy crypto, but I'll also, as things go on, be talking about more detailed things to do with what's going on in the world of crypto and trading and why I hold certain crypto and what my plans and strategies are, because it's always worthwhile having a strategy. But to take things right down to the bare brass tacks, to talk to people to begin with who might be wondering what's all this crypto about. I still don't really get it, and that's understandable. Most of us are sort of indoctrinated in schools and through generations, not really to understand how wealth works. And now, I'm not saying you're going to get magically rich by doing crypto, but what it will do is, just like with any assets, which Bitcoin is fast becoming a major asset like gold, and wealthy people have built their wealth and protected it by buying gold, silver, and Bitcoin really in that respect is is only 21 billion ever going to be available in the world. So that makes it finite, and it makes it something alone that wealthy people, which is happening now, are buying up, because it's an asset that they can then use to get money from banks and whatnot to be able to spend on whatever they choose. Often that choice is usually more assets, and understanding the importance of assets isn't something really taught in schools to us, because as workers we're the ones who create the assets, but we take this shitty paper money in return for it. And that money, as you'll know if you smoke, if you bought how much cheaper smoking was 10, 20, 30, forever go back, compared to what it is now, and that's taxed a little bit, but also comes inflation. And that is why if you leave 10 grand in the bank like they tell you at school, that 10 grand might still say 10,000 pounds in terms of what you've got in the bank. Maybe it might be 10,100 by the time you've held it long enough, because it's gone up in interest, or 10,000, 11,000 maybe, but not that great. But unfortunately your buying power, well, that's only buying you half as much as it did if you'd have just spent it in the first place. Now the banks are very clever. They use the money that you put in the bank to buy assets, loan out to other people to pay them back with interest, etc, etc. So if you're wondering why you're always skint and you seem to be doing the right thing and you're struggling for money, it's because the money that we spend is devalued, and deliberately. So I came to the realisation that, well, I'm not going to be spending it, so, and I don't get much, so what I'm going to do is sell all the junk that I've got in my attic that I don't use anymore, and put all that money together and start buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and a couple of other cryptos that are more speculative, but I'll get onto that on another video. Worst case scenario for me realistically is, well, I end up with the same amount of money that I put in. Great, I've saved it, it's devalued. Not ideal, as I've said, but no different to having it in a bank. But the thing is with assets, they rise above inflation, and Bitcoin's price is actually skewed a little bit by the dollar price and the prices of the pound. Now, it's like gold. Gold looks to have, to the pound and to the dollar, gone up in value over the years by so much, and it continues to go up. Now, if you measure the cost of gold in the last 40 years or whatever, and compare it to house prices, you tag that to house prices, actually the same amount of gold will buy you, that you bought then, will buy you the same amount of a house that I'd bought you back then. Now, if you had, say in 1990, you were able to get together about 30 or 40,000 pounds, and I'll scratch that. Say you could get about £5,000 together in 1990, yeah? That'd have got you a deposit on a mortgage for a house, yeah? So instead, what you decided to do is, like, I want to buy a house outright. So what you did was, I'm going to save as much as my wage that I get every month as possible, and then when I've got enough for a house, when I've got the, say, 50,000 that it was for a house back then, I'm going to buy the house outright. That way I own it outright. And we're taught there's a certain logic to that, but look at how many years it's going to have taken you to save that money together. So you've got your 45 grand together. It's taken you years and years and years, 10, 20 years, whatever, 30. And now here we are, 2025. That just about covers a deposit for the same house. So you've spent all that time, wasting that time, saving all that money, when you could have just gone to a bank, got the house, and that house now would be worth 150, 200,000, and you'd have been better off. And that other money that you were saving, you could have used for a deposit on another house, So that's why I got into crypto. So that's my kind of feelings about it, and that's just what I wanted to explain, why I have chosen crypto. And crypto, it's the technology behind it. I haven't chosen trading, though I do have a little bit of what I call a strategic reserve in gold that I'm building, but that's secondary to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And now, like I said, I'm not loaded, so I'm having to scrape all the bits of money. I've even cut smoking right down and started vaping, and that saved me a shit ton of money, and that's being able to go into buying crypto. So, and to anybody who thinks it's crypto, Bitcoin, it's just unachievable. It's not. It's just keep putting something in each month, and you'll be glad you did. Instead of using a bank, if you've got money just sat in a bank, devaluing every month, because that's what it's doing. It might not say it on paper, but it is. If you put it in Bitcoin, the least you can expect is to have it having the same buying power whenever you come to use it. And like I say, over time there'll come a time, you can already do it, but there'll come a time with all banks where you can use your Bitcoin, much like gold, to get mortgages. That is your collateral, like a house. So there's so many upsides to it. But I just thought I'd start with introducing you to why I got into crypto, and then I'll probably tell you more about it and talk about some of the cryptos that I currently hold and why and what my plans are. Alt season there could be an alt season coming up, which is a little Brucey bonus for me, because when I started I hadn't heard of what alt season is. That was something that came as a pleasant surprise, and my idea isn't, I'm not a trader, and I think it's important to differentiate between the two. Almost just about said that word. I'm not a trader, I'm an investor. I invest my money, and yes, I will from time to time sell bits and pieces, take a bit of profit just to rotate that into something else, but that money's in there. I'm not going to be doing anything else with it at the moment. So, and it's building, and that once you start seeing it building, the amount that you've got there, not just seeing the prices go up, but what you've managed to bit by bit over the months put in there, it gives you a really good psychological foundation as well. So for me, with it being more investment and looking at the long term and not buying like shit coins like Doge and Pepe and all that, I actually have now, I don't panic when prices go up and down. If you're trading, you're going to get hit by that FOMO and that panic if suddenly things go up, suddenly the greens are happening and you start buying in. And it's realistically the worst time to start buying in is when you start seeing the greens flying, because you're already too late and the rug pull's going to happen to you. You're going to be exit liquidity. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, I'll explain that probably in a later video as well. But I think anybody who knows crypto and trading will know. And the same applies to when reds start happening. I mean, for me, that's a buying signal. It's like I'm getting discount prices here and being able to lower my average price. Whereas if you panic and you sell, well, as soon as you hit the sell button, that is realised losses. You're actually losing physical money there. So I'll be going on about other things to do with tax, and that's very complicated, is that, to be honest, in the UK, because this government, or it's not Labour, it's not just about Labour, this is about any government, any ruling class in the UK. They do not want you, the worker, to get out of that trap. So they make it as difficult as possible and scare you out of crypto and say, ooh, it's scary. It's really not. Just be sensible. If you're sensible and, if you're thinking of getting into cryptocurrency but are a bit like worried about all the scare stories, just buy Bitcoin. It's not about having a whole Bitcoin. It's about the numbers, the Satoshis. If you read the long 0.0000s, yeah, don't see them as 0.0000, see them as one Satoshi. So how many, that number, you keep building that number up, so you might buy 100,000 Satoshis, or 0.00, not 1, 10,000, 0.0001. I might be one not out, by the way, but I am thinking off the top of my head. But it's not, don't think of it as 0.0001, think of it as 100,000 that you've got together. Now, not in your lifetime will that ever turn into pounds or dollars, but it's a good way to look at it. That's what you're building. You learn when you've been doing it for a while. Otherwise you get really depressed that it seems like you're never going to get one Bitcoin. Well, if you sold a house, you would get 1 or 2 Bitcoins as the price stands now, but not many people are going to take that gamble, are they? Because property, safe as houses. But for most of us, it's just about building that, and eventually you see that little 0.000 becomes 0.001 or 0.01 or 0.1, which becomes 0.2. You know, 0.25, you've got a quarter of a Bitcoin. And that's going to go up in value. The whole crypto industry would probably crash if that went, you know, if that, and a lot of businesses would go down with it that are now creating strategic reserves like they do with gold. So the smart money's in Bitcoin, you know, the big businesses, the big players, governments, they're buying Bitcoin. So you got to think, if they are, maybe it'd be wise to do the same. It's not about anymore seeing those massive returns where Bitcoin has gone from like less than 1,000. I'm British, so I'm going to talk in pounds, even though you'll learn you've got to combine both in a way. But from £1,000 to now £82,000, you're not going to get them kind of returns anymore, but you will get solid returns from it. You'll get solid. You know, there will come a time when it is up there at $1 million. It's on its way there. That is inevitable, and there's many reasons why if you study it. So there's a lot of room, and it is still early. It isn't too late. One of the things, it's easy to look at it and think, oh, I'm too early, I'm too late, sorry. And a lot of us suffer from that feeling we're too late. And then you look back and you go, if only when I thought we're too late I'd done something. And that's kind of the psychological barriers you have to get over. And I have studied psychology over the years, and I've learned these psychological triggers we have. With any kind of trading, you've sort of got to learn to recognise those psychological triggers, you know, that make you want to, oh, I want to buy all of a sudden, and oh shit, I need to sell, and do the exact opposite. Because the people who have the money and to manipulate all these markets, that's what happens, they play off of that psychological factor. It'll just get close to that psychological place in your head where you think, right, if it gets there, that's when I'm going to sell, or that's when I'm going to buy. And then whoosh, and then that means loads of people end up accidentally selling when they shouldn't do, in a panic, buying when they shouldn't do, because they're near the top and they think, oh yeah, it's going to go further, it's got to do, it's going to pass this, and once it passes this I'm going to take my money, and then suddenly they ride it all the way back down. But that's for day traders. You're not day trade, you know, I wouldn't advise day trading unless you already have a few million in the bank. It's not profitable enough, and it's the risk of it. You're better off, when it comes to things like that, just buying Bitcoin. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now. It's my first video. I just thought I'd see how this goes. Thank you. Let me know in the comments if you found it interesting, or if there's anything you want to know or you'd like me to talk about, and I'll take it from there. Alright then, bye bye.